Making the headlines tonight. Deputy Prime Minister Thea Bun urged Siem Reap authorities to manage the natural resources and areas and other relevant authorities in order to resolve ongoing land enchantment issues quickly. Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn met with the Japan Special Envoy for National Reconciliation in Myanmar, Yo Sangwa, to discuss matters related to the ongoing Myanmar crisis. South Koreans vote for a new president with an outspoken Liberal ruling party candidate and a Conservative former prosecutor considered for the favourites in a tight race that aggravated domestic divisions. A 97-year-old amateur Leonid Savitsky's dream come true when he played with Grand Slam champion Nadal. The Ukraine is ending his worst nightmare in Ukraine when Russian forces invaded. And this year's International Women's Day, a day that aims to highlight gender equality, recognise women's achievements and women's rights. In Ukraine, women mostly celebrated International Women's Day from their shelters. However, soldiers made sure to make the most and brought them flowers to celebrate. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Anthony Ellis. The Ministry of National Defence Deputy Prime Minister Thea Bun has urged the Siem Reap provincial authorities to manage the natural resources and the Forest Conventions area collective with other relevant militaries, institutions and local authorities in order to resolve ongoing land enchantments issues more quickly. The Cambodian Defence Minister made these remarks during the closing ceremony of the meeting to summarise the work results of 2021 and the work direction of 2022 of the Siem Reap Provincial Administration Tuesday morning. EAC News reporter Dekin Nin has more details.
Deputy Prime Minister Thea Bun has stated that in order to ensure the effectiveness of the work to manage natural resources and forest conservation areas, the provincial administration, municipal administration, district administration, and commune administration must together ensure the proper implementation of the principles and measures set by the relevant ministries and institutions. He stated that as the chairman of the Provincial State Land Management Commission, he urges the provincial administration to cooperate with other ministries and institutions in defining border posts and registering land to prevent illegal encroachment on state-owned land areas and forests in protected areas. He stressed that the state must expedite the settlement of land disputes as soon as possible to avoid them spreading and becoming more complicated and difficult to resolve. He advised that in resolving land disputes and local protests, efforts must be made to avoid all forms of violence, and the monitoring and control of encroachment on people's land in protected areas and forests must be increased to prevent any further illegal intrusions. Deputy Prime Minister Thea Bun also recommended to village and commune authorities not to sign documents of sale, transfer, or ownership, any documents of illegal land tenure in protected areas, and to continue to educate, guide, and disseminate information on forest law, fishery laws, and laws on protected areas to local authorities, citizens, and stakeholders so that they can more actively participate in the protection of forests and natural resources. He stated that the forest in Phnom Kulen area in particular must be protected because it is an important source of water supply for Siem Reap province. Dekanin, EAC News.
The Cambodian Minister for Foreign Affairs and appointed ASEAN Special Envoy for Myanmar, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, met with the Japanese Special Envoy for National Reconciliation in Myanmar and the Chairman of Nippon Foundation, Yohei Sasakawa, on Tuesday morning to discuss matters related to the ongoing Myanmar crisis. According to the post made by the Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn on official Facebook page, the Cambodian Foreign Minister and the Japanese Special Envoy discussed how the implementation of the ASEAN 5-point consensus has been slower than expected. However, both sides remain hopeful that the ASEAN Special Envoy's upcoming visit to Myanmar will help create a more conducive environment and peaceful dialogue between all parties and return Myanmar back to normalcy. Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn added that he believes that Mr. Sasakawa's vast expertise in Myanmar's would be assessed which contribute greatly to the common cause. As the Asian Special Envoy, the Cambodian Foreign Minister will be headed to Myanmar from the 20th to 23rd of March, where he will meet with different stakeholder groups involved with the ongoing Myanmar conflict, including representatives of the Myanmar military and opposition groups. During his visit, he will allow the distribution of humanitarian aid and local hospitals. The Cambodian Minister of Information has received an honorary doctorate from the Ravindram University of Technology, Paranakahan in Thailand. The honorary document conference ceremony was held under the presidency of Her Royal Highness Princess Maha Jakari Sinaradam at the RMUTP in Bangkok on Tuesday. EAC News reporter Deccan Nin has the story.
This honorary doctorate was awarded to Minister Khieu Kanyarat in recognition of his contribution to the work of Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen in serving Cambodia and bringing about peace, national unity, and political stability, especially through the use of media. The leadership of the Information Minister has enabled effective utilization of social media for the best interests of the people and society. Acknowledging the contribution of his colleagues, Minister Khieu Kanyarat thanked the Thai University for the honorary doctorate, stressing that it represents a strong friendship between Cambodia and Thailand. Dekanin, EAC News.
The Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces and the Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Army, Lieutenant Hun Manet, has said in one word, war has never made any country prosperous and only brought despair, loss of life, and destruction. He urged all armed forces, especially the army, to put national interests first and focus on protecting the nation. The king, the constitution, and the government, in order to maintain peace in Cambodia, has come much after hardship. EAC News reporter Darshana Guchin has more.
Speaking at the closing ceremony of the Military Security Review Meeting of 2021, dissemination of the 2022 plan, and the inauguration ceremony of the achievements of the 1st Intervention Brigade in Kampong Chhnang Province on Tuesday morning, Lieutenant General Hun Manet said that Cambodia has gone through enough wars, deprivation, and devastation already, while extremist groups continue to try and bring Cambodia back into crisis, so the involvement of forces to prevent this is crucial. He said, "Let our national armed forces in general, and in particular the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, continue to maintain integrity and strengthen the absolute defense of religion, the king, the constitution, and the government to ensure sustainability of peace, stability, and development as we have today, while some extremist groups continue to incite and nurture attempts to cause insecurity and to overthrow the government in order to serve their hungry ambitions regardless of national interests and the well-being of the people." During his speech, he also expressed his support and encouragement to all soldiers to continue their efforts to fulfill their roles and responsibilities as the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces in order to achieve better achievements for the nation, the people, and the motherland. Cambodia was a war-torn country for nearly 3 decades, from 1970 to 1999. Prime Minister Hun Sen set out his win-win policy to end the last movement of the Khmer Rouge in 1996. This policy was successfully implemented on 24th December 1998 and helped to re-establish the unity of the Khmer people after more than 500 years of national division. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
Tuesday, 8th of March marked International Women's Day, and Olympia Moore in Phnom Penh celebrated women by holding an event raised awareness on the daily challenges and the bias faced women. The event held under the theme Break the Bias and featured prominent speakers from various industries. EAC News attended an event and some insight of the importance of this day to learn what breaking the bias will entail. EAC News reporter Deccan Nin will tell you more about it.
Jia Sok Hie, the CEO of the Olympia Mall, created this event in hopes of breaking the bias against women and unlocking the potential that women have. She said that she hopes by bringing women leaders from various industries to speak at the event, attendees will be inspired by their different perspectives and understand the need for greater support for women's success. The event began with registration and the playing of the national anthem before the first key speakers took the stage. The first panel was moderated by Sampor Sai and featured Kong Sorita, the Undersecretary of State from the Ministry of Women's Affairs, Ron Saray Lekana, Deputy Secretary General of Anti-Human Trafficking and Juvenile Justice, Oknya Kao Mong, the President of CWEA and CEO of Lily Food Industry, and Jirota, the CEO and founder of Khmom Technology. Undersecretary of State Kong Sorita stated that she wanted the next generation of girls to be their own heroes. Thus, she joined the Ministry of Women's Affairs to create the change that she wanted to see. For Saray Lekana, she did not let society discourage her from joining the police force. She talked about how many had wanted to see her fail, but she pushed through and was still able to raise 3 children while pursuing her career. Mom talked about the expectations held for women to be able to do everything and said that as a single mother, she did do it all by raising a family and being the head of multiple projects. She added that the only reason she could do it was because of love. love for her family, and love for her work. She encouraged all attendees to do what they love because only then will they be able to weather through the hardships. Before she talked about her experience, Rotha asked the audience to stand up and close their eyes. She asked them to picture a programmer and asked if they saw a face like hers. She said that during her studies, she was one of the few women in her program. She ultimately saw that she needed to be self-sufficient to climb the ladder of success. Thus, she encouraged all women in the audience to be active in their journey to reach wherever they wanted to be. A second panel was moderated by Miss Jane and featured Sarun Lakana, the country manager of Chi Investments, Tan Sreipo, the owner of Agro Agape Coffee, Yu Buray, the founder and CEO of Talent Excellence Development Partner, and DJ Avida. The panel discussed the challenges of breaking habits that keep women from being successful. The main message of the discussion was that women do not need to adhere to stereotypes or traditional understandings of what it means to be a woman. Davina Jia, a student and model who attended the event, said that the key speakers inspired her to be herself and do what she loves. Another student attendee, Samna, said that he attended the event to see what the International Women's Day celebration at Olympia Mall would be like. He said that he learned that one needs to be brave to pursue one's dream, as well as the need to respect women as equals in order to improve society. After each panel discussion concluded, CIM models walked the runway for a short fashion show supported by Converse, Beliza, the pizza company Cambodia, Madame Boutique Ami, Fly Coffee, and the Olympia Mall. The evening concluded with a live performance from singer Prima and DJ Avida from Pong Studio. Dekanin, EAC News.
The 5th Commune District Council elections will be held in June of this year, and so far the Cambodian People's Party and the Candlelight Party have announced and nominated the most running candidates among all participate parties. EAC News reporter Dashona Guchin has further details.
According to preliminary data on the registration of candidates of political parties for the 5th Commune District Council election provided by the National Election Committee, as of Tuesday, 8th March, 17 different political parties have registered a total of 84,208 candidates to run in the election, including 26,584 women. The CPP has the largest number of recorded candidates running at 28,008, including 7,262 women, while the Candlelight Party has 23,679 candidates, of which 5,372 are women. The registration of candidates of political parties for the 5th Commune District Council election was completed over 3 days from 4th to 6th March 2022, and the election itself is set to begin on 5th June, where new commune and district councillors will be elected to replace those who have completed their terms or retired. In the last Commune District Council election held in 2017, the CPP won 1,156 communes, the CNRP won 489 communes, and the Nyakpun Chai Khmer National United Party won 1 commune. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
The Deputy Director General and spokesman of the Apsara National Authority has stated it was not appropriate to use the Cambodian flag to design clothes, adding the flag is a symbol of Khmer nation and represents the spirit of patriotism. He made these remarks on Monday in response to a video production company planning to use the clothes representing the Cambodian flag in a new music video. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more details.
Apsara National Authority spokesperson Longko Sol emphasized that the national flag also represents the honor of military heroes who go out to fight for national defense or to carry out humanitarian missions abroad. When a life is sacrificed on the battlefield, the nation always expresses its gratitude by covering coffins with the national flag as a sign of great respect. He stressed that for these reasons, it is therefore not appropriate to use the image of the flag in designing apparel. He described that it is an insult. For example, when someone wears clothing designed to look like the flag and they sit on top of it or get their clothes dirty, as the flag represents the whole nation and should be treated in a manner that is more sacred. He further added that if someone wants to show true patriotism, then they can visit cultural heritage site of Angkor Wat and do their part to help protect the environment, which would be much more appropriate ways to display pride for the Khmer nation. The Apsara National Authority's comments come after a video production company designed clothes made out of the Cambodian flag to be worn by performers in a music video that was originally planned to be filmed at the Angkor Archaeological Park. Dekanin, EAC News.
Cambodia has reported 198 new COVID-19 cases, including 4 which are imported. There have been 339 patient recoveries and no new deaths. Cambodia's Omicron surge continues at 33-day triple digits. The kingdom recorded 198 new community and 4 new imported cases, the new variant, meaning Cambodia has now recorded 12,822 cases of Omicron, 1,124 imported, and 11,609 community cases. The kingdom COVID-19 case tally now climbed up to 133,263. The death toll stands at 3,043. The number of patients treated successfully since the pandemic reached Cambodia is 127,683, and the tally for imported cases has climbed up to 20,981. Healthcare workers are currently treated a total of 2,461 patients. Now look at the news making international headlines Wednesday, 9th of March.
2 fires broke out at oil depot in the Zhytomyr region of Ukraine on Monday, March 7, with the country's state emergency services saying they were caused by 2 Russian airstrikes. One fire is in the city of Zhytomyr, while the other was in Chernyakhyiv. There were no reported casualties or injuries as a result of either fire. The Zhytomyr fire was said to have been contained at 9:30 p.m. The Russian Defense Ministry says that on Saturday, March 5, in aerial combat near Zhytomyr, about 100 kilometers west of Kiev, 4 Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jets had been shot down.
Flood warnings have stretched across Australia's east coast on Tuesday, March 8th. Tens of thousands of Sydney residents fled their homes overnight as torrential rains again pummeled a large swath of the country. Australia's eastern rivers were already near capacity following record downpours in several parts of Queensland and New South Wales states over recent weeks, cutting off towns and sweeping away farms, livestock, and roads. 19 people have been killed, most either in flooded homes or in cars, attempting to cross flooded roads since the deluge began. A tough 24 hours or even 48 hours ahead, Bureau of Meteorology forecaster Dean Naramore has said during a media briefing on Tuesday as he forecasts up to 5 inches of rain across Sydney over the next 24 hours, with the storm clearing by late Wednesday, March 9th. Heavy rains have lashed Sydney overnight, with some suburbs receiving up to 7 inches of rainfall since the morning of Monday, March 7th, exceeding March's mean rainfall of around 5.5 inches, triggering flash flooding and snap evacuation orders in the southwest of the city.
US President Joe Biden has announced a ban on Russian oil and other energy imports on Tuesday, March 8th, in relation to the invasion of Ukraine, underscoring strong bipartisan support for the move, and he has acknowledged it will drive US energy prices.
Oil prices jumped on the news, with benchmark Brent crude for May climbing by 5.4% to $129.91 a barrel. President Biden has been working with allies in Europe, who are far more dependent on Russian oil, to isolate Russia's energy-heavy economy and Putin. Britain's announced shortly before Biden's remarks that it would phase out the import of Russian oil and oil products by the end of 2022. The U.S. president has said sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies had already caused the Russian economy to crater. He has also said the latest moves had been made in close consultation with allies and partners around the world.
Today, I'm announcing the United States is targeting the main artery of Russia's economy. We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine. This is a move that has strong bipartisan support in Congress and, I believe, in the country. Americans have rallied to support their Ukrainian people and made it clear we will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war. We made this decision in close consultation with our allies and our partners around the world, particularly in Europe, because a united response to Putin's aggression has been my overriding focus, to keep all NATO, and all of the EU and our allies totally united. We're moving forward with this ban, understanding that many of our European allies and partners may not be in a position to join us. The United States produces far more oil domestically than all the European countries combined. In fact, we're a net exporter of energy. So we can take this step when others cannot.
President Biden has made it clear the United States will share in the responsibility of caring for the refugees, so the costs do not fail entirely on the European countries bordering Ukraine. The decision is not without cost. Putin's war is already hurting American families at the gas pump. Since Putin began his military buildup on Ukraine's borders, just since then, the price of the gas at the pump in America went up 75 cents. And with this action, is going to go up further. Biden has said he is going to do everything he can to minimize Putin's price hike. In coordination with United States partners, U.S. has already announced that they are releasing 60 million barrels of oil from their joint oil reserves. The crisis is a stark reminder to protect the economy over the long term and reminded that they need to become energy independent. Russia may continue to grind out its advance at a horrible price, but this much is already clear. Ukraine will never be a victory for Putin. Putin may be able to take a city, but he'll never be able to hold the country. And if the United States do not respond to Putin's assault on global peace and stability today, the cost of freedom and to the American people will be even greater tomorrow. Biden says United States going to continue to support the brave Ukrainian people as they fight for their country, and call on Congress to pass the $12 billion Ukraine assistance package that has asked them. The United States imported more than 20.4 million barrels of crude and refined products a month, on average from Russia in 2021, about 8% of U.S. liquid fuel imports, according to the Energy Information Administration, and the ban is expected to send already high gasoline prices and inflation soaring. The United States also import a negligible amount of coal from Russia. Biden has predicted prices would rise further as a result of Putin's war, but pledged to do all he could to minimize the impact on the American people. He also warned U.S. gas companies against exploiting the situation to engage in profiteering on price gouging. The White House had been coordinating with U.S. congressional leaders working on a fast-tracking bipartisan legislation to ban Russian imports, but the ban of Russian imports would make any such bill moot. Biden has said that the Ukraine crisis should spur a move for energy independence by the U.S. and Europe in a move to a green economy. Republican lawmakers took to social media to welcome the decision while criticizing Biden's green energy policies and calling for the administration to support more oil and gas production at home.
Lithuania's President Gintas Nausėda on Monday, March 7th, has warned Washington's top diplomat, Antony Blinken, that the failure to stop Russian aggression in Ukraine would lead to a global conflict. Addressing the U.S. Secretary of State, and he has been on tour of the Baltic states, Nausėda has said Russian leader Vladimir Putin would not stop in Ukraine and that the world had an obligation to help Ukrainians by all means available.
NATO member Lithuania has sent military aid to Ukraine and has welcomed small numbers of Ukrainian refugees since Russia's invasion began on February 24. Blinken has said the U.S. would defend every inch of NATO territory in the event of an attack and has said supporting Ukrainians was the most urgent matter. Blinken met Nausėda before talks with Lithuania's foreign minister and prime minister and has visited neighboring Latvia and Estonia on Monday and Tuesday. NATO countries have ramped up their presence in the Baltic nations in recent weeks, and more troops and equipment are on the way, policymakers have announced. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said an attack on one NATO ally is an attack on all. The United States, with all its allies and partners, will defend every inch of NATO territory should it come under attack, and there should be no doubt about that on anyone's mind.
South Koreans vote for a new president on Wednesday, with an outspoken Liberal ruling party candidate and a conservative former prosecutor considered the favourites in a tight race that has aggravated domestic divisions.
Pre-election surveys have showed liberal Lee Jae-myung, a former governor of South Korea's most populous Gyeonggi province, and his main conservative challenger, ex-prosecutor general Yoon Suk-yeol, with neck-and-neck support, way ahead of 10 other contenders. The winner will take office in May and serve a single 5-year term as leader of the world's 10th largest economy. Lee and Yoon have conducted one of the most bitter political campaigns in recent memory. Both recently agreed that if they won, they would not conduct politically motivated investigations against the other, but many believe the losing candidate could still face criminal probes over some of the scandals they've been implicated in. Critics say neither candidate has presented a clear strategy on how they would ease the threat from North Korea and its nuclear weapons. They also say voters are skeptical about how both would handle international relations amid the US-China rivalry and how they would address widening economic inequality and runaway housing prices. The election comes as South Korea has been grappling with an Omicron-driven COVID-19 surge. On Wednesday, South Korea's health authorities reported 342,446 new virus cases, another record high. After the voting began at 6 a.m., mask-wearing voters have waited in long lines at some polling stations before putting on vinyl gloves or using hand sanitizer to cast ballots. People infected with the coronavirus were to vote after regular voting ends Wednesday evening. About 44 million South Koreans aged 18 or older are eligible to vote out of the country's 52 million people. About 16 million cast ballots during early voting last week. About 3.5 hours after Wednesday's voting began, the turnout stood at 8.2%, according to the website of the National Election Commission. Ahead of the vote, Jung Un-young, a 48-year-old Seoul resident, has said she was agonizing over which candidate is the lesser of two evils. "Nobody around me seems happy about voting for either Lee or Yoon," she has said. "We need a leader who would be really devoted to improving the lives of working-class citizens." While both Lee and Yoon share some similar economic and welfare policies, they have clashed over North Korea and other foreign policy issues. On confrontation between Washington, Seoul's top military ally, and Beijing, its biggest trading partner, Lee says picking a side would pose a greater security threat to South Korea. Yoon wants to place a priority on an enhanced alliance with the United States. After North Korea's latest reported ballistic missile launched Saturday, Yoon has accused North Korean leader Kim Jong-un of trying to influence the results of the South Korean election in favor of Lee. South Korea's constitution limits a president to a single 5-year term, so Lee's party colleague, President Moon Jae-in, cannot seek a re-election. Moon came to power in 2017 after conservative President Park Geun-hye was impeached and ousted from office over a huge corruption scandal. Lee, a former human rights lawyer who entered local politics in 2005, has established an image as a tough-speaking anti-elitist who can get things done and fix establishment politics. But his opponents call him a dangerous populist relying on divisions and demonizing opponents. Yoon has launched a political offensive on Lee over allegations that Lee is a key figure in a corrupt land development project launched in the city of Seongnam when he was mayor there. Lee has tried to link Yoon to that scandal. Both of their wives have offered public apologies over separate scandals. Whoever wins will likely struggle to bridge conservative-liberal divisions. Both candidates have failed to create their own distinctive images because they become absorbed in party allegiances amid partisan animosity, so the race was defined by negative campaigning, said Shin Yul, a politics professor at Seoul's Myongji University. Whoever wins will be tasked with an important but difficult task of healing the divisions.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Reigning back-to-back NFL MVP player, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers has agreed to the new 4-year $200 million deal, according to NFL Insider reports.
Aaron Rodgers took to Twitter on Tuesday afternoon to confirm that he will be returning to the Green Bay Packers for the 2022 season, but can clarify that nothing is signed yet. Hey everyone, just wanted to clear some things up. Yes, I will be playing with the Packers next year. However, reports about me signing a contract are inaccurate, as are the supposed terms of the contract I signed. I'm very excited to be back, Rodgers tweeted amid news of the blockbuster trade involving Russell Wilson. Reports earlier Tuesday said Rodgers agreed to a 4-year $200 million contract with the Packers to become the highest paid player in NFL history. NFL Network reported Rodgers would receive a record of $153 million guaranteed on a new deal that reduces his cap figure from his scheduled $46 million hit on the Packers' 2022 ledger. However, fans duel Pat McAfee, a noted friend of Rodgers, said the financial terms of the deal weren't accurate, but confirmed through sources that Rodgers, also a frequent guest on McAfee podcast, agreed in principle to return to Green Bay on a cap-friendly deal. With Rodgers in place, the Packers used the franchise tag on wide receiver Davante Adams later Tuesday. Rodgers, 38, was named MVP in February, claiming the honor for the second consecutive season. Rodgers and the Packers mapped this climatic decision day as a step forward last season, when the level of acrimony between the general manager Brian Gutekunst and Rodgers became apparent before the 2021 draft.
There was great success for the Ukraine team in the middle distance biathlon events in Beijing Paralympics on Tuesday, 8th of March.
Irina Boy claimed gold as the countries completed a clean sweep of the podium positions in the women's 10 kilometers standing section, with Alexandra Kononova taking silver and Lyudmila Lechenko bronze. It was a similar story in the men's vision-impaired race, with Vitaly Lukyanenko claiming gold ahead of his compatriots, silver medalist Anatoly Kovalevsky and Dmitry Shorko, who took bronze. There was success also for the United States, who took the top 2 positions in the women's sitting section, Kendall Gretsch edging out Oksana Masters for gold, with bronze going to Germany's Anja Winker. China's Liu Mengtao won the men's sitting gold, the 20-year-old falling to the ground after crossing the finish line to beat Germany's Martin Flegg. Ukraine's Taras Road took the bronze. The women's vision-impaired gold went to Germany's Leonie Maria Walter, with Oksana Shokova finishing with silver and Wang Yu of China's bronze.
4 months after the 97-year-old amateur Leonard Savetsky's dreams come true when he played 21 times Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal, the Ukraine is ending his worst nightmare in Kharkiv in Russian former supremacy city.
Stanislavski, who holds the Guinness World Record as the world's oldest tennis player, also had dreams of playing Swiss great Roger Federer, but now he has only one simple wish: survival. I hope I live to reach 100. I have to survive this frightening situation. The war started on February 24th. From the 24th till now, I have practically not gone out. I've stayed at home. I have supplies. The fridge is full. I'm sitting at home not going anywhere, he said. My daughter Tanya is in Poland. She wants to take me there, but I decided to stay here. I have bad hearing, so I sleep at night and don't hear anything. Last night there were bombings in the morning and there were air raid sirens again. Stanislavski survived the Second World War when he was an engineer who helped build Soviet warplanes to fight the Nazis. I never thought that I would have to live through another more frightening war where people from both sides are dying. Mothers are losing their children, wives are losing their sons and their husbands, he added. What is this? What good is it? In the 21st century, there can't be war. The war needs to be stopped. An agreement has to be reached. For Stanislavski, an end to the conflict would also mean the chance to resume playing tennis and possibly to appear at the next Seniors World Championships in Florida next month. He was 30 when he was introduced to the sport and used to train 3 times a week. Tennis is my life, my destiny. I've played tennis at a serious level since I was 90. I've played abroad, I've played in World Championships, I've played in the European Championships. I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm hoping that the war will end and I will be able to play tennis. If I could get to Poland, I would play there, but I decided to stay at home and wait for the end of the war, he said.
Now let's have a look at the weather and what you can expect tomorrow. And finally, this year marks the 111th International Women's Day, a day which aims to highlight gender equality, recognise women's achievements in history, and commemorate the ongoing march of women's rights. Those in Ukraine this year mostly celebrated International Women's Day from their shelters. However, soldiers in the city of Odessa made sure to make the most of it by bought them flowers to celebrate women in their lives.
Although the city of Odessa is preparing its defenses for the imminent war, soldiers still took the time to buy flowers for friends and family to celebrate International Women's Day. Buying flowers from street vendors, Territorial Defense Forces reservist Yuriv said that he bought flowers for his mother-in-law and wife to congratulate them on March 8th. Because war or no war, women need to be protected, loved, and respected. Another soldier, Dmitriev, bought pink and yellow tulips with his fellow soldiers, adding that women also serve in the army to protect the country and must never be forgotten and deserve to be congratulated. The city of Odessa is home to 1 million people, as well as the Ukrainian naval base, which is the largest seaport in the country. The locals continue to fill bags of sand on the beach to build barriers and undergo weaponry training in order to defend their city from the imminent Russian invasion.
Thank you for watching Daily Roundup here on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check our website eacnews.asia or search EAC News on Telegram or your favourite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.